Dog training business advice you should avoid. Hey, I'm Adam Katz for DogTrainerToolbox.com, as well as the Dog Trainer Marketing Group on Facebook, as well as Katz on Marketing on YouTube, my YouTube channel, which has over like 330 videos on the art and science of how to grow your dog training business. I'm outside today. I'm actually in Colombia, the country in South America, recording this because I don't have my full editing suite with me. I've just got a laptop and my iPhone, which I'm using now. And I don't have any editing equipment, so hopefully the sound comes out okay and everything's all right. And I don't even have notes, so I'm using this teleprompter app to kind of go over some points with you that I wanted to hit because I thought they were important. So this is part one. We're going to talk about dog training business advice you should ignore from these kind of people. And then part two will be the actual nitty-gritty bad advice that is frequently being offered. You know, if you hang out in any of these, dog trainers helping other dog trainer type forums, you'll hear this advice quite frequently. So let's get into it. The first one is the type of person, let me see if I can slow this down here a little bit. The type of person you'll see who, who hangs out in other people's groups, doesn't have his own group, doesn't have his own platform, doesn't have his own YouTube channel, or even a website. And he supposedly sold a multi-million-dollar dog training business, and now he just wants to help you. I mean, he's just trying to get you on the phone to pitch you his overpriced coaching programs. And the fact of the matter is nobody's ever actually heard of these guys besides their own self-promotion. They pop up every few months. Let me pause that so I can expand on that. And it's like, listen, nothing in life is free. You know, if somebody like reaches out to you on a forum and they don't even own the forum that they're on, they don't even have their own forum or any of that other stuff I already mentioned, and they just want to help you. It's stupid. Does that even make sense? Like, a guy sells a multi-million-dollar dog training business, and instead of like enjoying himself on a beach somewhere, all he does is help people for free. It's bullshit, guys. He's just trying to get you on the phone to sell you his overpriced coaching programs. All right, let's go on to the next one. The next one is the $30,000 dog training millionaire giving advice. And he'll tell you everything you need to know about running a successful dog training business. And he's always the first guy to give advice anytime the subject comes up. And the truth is, he still lives with mom. He's the last guy you should be taking advice from. So I call them $30,000 millionaires. I didn't make up that term, but 30,000 millionaire dog trainers, they're guys that talk as if they have made millions of dollars from their dog training business. But the reality is they're barely getting by. They're struggling to get by and still living with mom. But they'll be the first ones to tell you exactly what you should do with your dog training business and how you should do it. All right, the next one is the build it and they will come guy. Thinks you don't need to advertise or promote yourself because it worked that way for him back in 2002. So just do a good job and the clients will find you. Here's some facts about referrals, guys. 1 in 5 people, in my experience, will refer you one additional client. And typically 1 in 20, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, but typically 1 in 20 will become what I call a super referrer. Somebody who refers you multiple clients. It might even be multiple clients every month. But this idea that if you just do a good job, people will find you. Well, there's probably like 100 other people in your city that are also good dog trainers. You're not the only good dog trainer in your city. And, people are working with them. And they may work with them before they work with you. And then they don't need your service because that other guy is marketing and promoting themselves. All right. Next one, the just run your own ads, do your own SEO guy. Now, this guy's not completely wrong. I do think that, if you have some experience running ads, or you're technologically minded, or you're good at writing copy, which is like basically the words that sell, I think it's perfectly fine to set a very limited budget and try running your own Google ads, try running your own Facebook ads, try doing your own SEO, or getting yourself ranked in the Google Business Profile, which actually Google Business Profile really isn't that hard. You could any average person could actually learn how to do that themselves within like an afternoon. It's not that big of a deal. But for regular organic SEO, for running Google ads, for running Facebook ads, there's nothing that says you can't try it and see what kind of results that you get. You know, sometimes you find some people in a certain market that maybe it's not that competitive or whatever, the stars just align and they're able to do it for themselves and get really good results. Most dog trainers aren't going to be able to do that. And most dog trainers, to be honest, don't really have enough time to do that because they're busy running their dog training business. So for those people, I recommend hiring somebody to run your Google ads or your Facebook ads. Now, I actually run Facebook ads. If you'd like to learn more, you can check out dogtrainertoolbox.com. I would love to run your campaign. I find that Facebook ads are generally 30 to 70% less expensive than Google ads, but Google ads are great also. The problems that you're going to run into if you don't know what you're doing, you try running your own campaigns. If you're in any type of competitive market, the cost per click is going to be most likely prohibitively expensive. And you're going to burn through so much cash as you go through the learning curve that it's going to completely be a waste of money. And I'll be honest with you, even the best ad guys sometimes will go into a new market with a new operator, new dog training business, and can't get the ad campaigns to work. So it is always a test, which is why you never want to get locked into a long-term contract with anybody running your ad campaigns. In my opinion, 30 days is more than enough to figure out if you've got a winning campaign or not, and from that point, you just kind of let it roll. Let's continue. Then there's another guy who get on these groups and say that Google ads don't work, or Facebook ads don't work, or truck wraps don't work, or this, that, or the other doesn't work. And frequently it's a guy that's either tried it himself or he's tried one or two different ad managers and it didn't work. Most of the time, it's because that person doesn't know how to sell leads, paid leads. That person has had a lot of success selling free leads. Free leads are basically leads from your veterinarian or your sister or your neighbor, and those people are basically already pre-sold at that point. And so you don't need a strong offer. You don't need to have a good close. You don't need to have authority building measures built into your pitch. None of that matters, right? And so what happens is these guys try a couple of Google ads managers or agencies, or they try a couple of Facebook ads people, and they don't get good results, and therefore in their mind it doesn't work. Well, here's a way to determine whether or not an ad platform really works well. Are other dog trainers using it? And specifically, are other successful dog training business owners using it? Now, if you see some of these, especially like the bigger franchises, Off Leash Canine, Sit Means Sit, the larger locations, and they're in your market, and they're advertising month over month, it probably works. It's just that you or the guy you hired haven't figured out how to make it work. And I'll be completely honest with you. I've run Google ads. I don't run Google ads campaigns now, but I ran Google ad campaigns for several years for dog training businesses. And the same thing holds for Facebook ads, and the same thing probably holds for TikTok and everything else. You can have a successful ad campaign that works in one market after the next, after the next, after the next, and then you just hit that one market that your ad approach or your message, for whatever reason, it just doesn't work that well. Now, usually it's the operator, it's the person that doesn't know how to sell, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just that the ad campaign, for whatever reason, it doesn't work very well, and it requires a completely different approach. If I was in your shoes, I would look at trying a different Facebook ads manager or a different Google ads manager and keep trying ones until you find somebody who has an approach that works in your market. Because specifically for those of us, I'm talking about myself, I'm talking about the Hayden, I'm talking about Canine, can't remember the guy's name. There's a number of us who specifically run ads for the dog training industry. Our ads typically work from one market to the next, but they don't always. I mean, there isn't anything that just absolutely works. That's why all marketing is a test, and that's, again, why you don't want to get locked into some long-term contract with a company before you even know if it works. So that's the Google ads guy, the guy who says that Google ads or Facebook ads don't work. Just ignore that. Similarly, there's the guy that'll tell you that the marketing agencies just want to rip you off. Well, some marketing agencies do, some marketing agencies don't. Some dog trainers just want to rip off their clients. Some dog trainers are legit and are really dedicated to helping you with your dog. It's the same thing in pretty much every industry. So here's a few tips when you're hiring somebody. I think that it's important to hire somebody who's owned at least one successful dog training business before. Myself, I've owned 3, but there's other guys in the industry who've owned dog training businesses themselves, and so they're already familiar with the types of language, the types of emotional hot buttons you need to press to get dog owners to respond to your ads. And so whether you use me or you use somebody else, use somebody that's really intimately familiar with the industry. If the person you're interviewing hasn't owned a dog training business, but they've owned demonstrably, they're able to show you that they've run campaigns for many, many other dog training businesses. For example, like Brandon over at Venture Marketing, he's probably run ads for 100 to 150 dog training businesses when he was my lead tech. And then about 3+ years ago, I sold him my agency, and he's continued to offer that service. So there's a guy, for example, that hasn't owned his own dog training business, but he's been running ads for dog trainers for long enough to know what's up. Now, if you hire like a local guy who's never run an ad campaign for a dog training business before, you're going to be at a distinct advantage. And sometimes if you hire a marketing agency that's a crook or a con man and they focus just on the dog training industry, they might rip you off. But again, it depends on the individual, just like it depends on who you're hiring to train your dog. Now, let's see if that's it. I believe that is it, guys. So listen, if you'd like to learn more, head on over to dogtrainertoolbox.com. You can read about either the Facebook ad service and some of the other services that I offer to help you grow your dog training business. And I have links to other service providers that I actually recommend, people that I've vetted, people that I know, people that seem like decent human beings that aren't just in it to take your money. And if you click on any of the boxes at dogtrainertoolbox.com, it'll take you to either their site, or it'll ask you for information, and then my secretary will forward your information to that person, and they can follow up and get in touch with you. So those are my tips and advice for when you see people responding in some of these forums about what you should do with your dog training business, whether or not you should listen or not listen. Those are my observations. If you're a member of my group, the Dog Trainer Marketing Group on Facebook, we've got over, I think, 5,100 professional dog training business owners swapping secret strategies, tactics, and tips. And it is free to join. And me and my moderators, we typically do a pretty good job of keeping a lid on those kind of scammers. But if you are in the group and you do get contacted by someone through private message, please let me know, because that's against our terms of service. Once again, Adam Katz for dogtrainertoolbox.com. Talk to you soon, guys.